Hi, my name is Madeline. I have my undergrad in social work and my master's in psychology of human behavior. And today I would like to talk about how I handle emotional overwhelm. Being faced with challenges in my life while also being a big feelings person, I needed to create a system for myself to help cope when it feels like nothing in life is going right. So that is what this video is going to be about. I am someone who feels deeply and reacts strongly. I was noticing when I was being hit with life challenges like moving, getting a new job, fights in my family, fights in relationships, I was having a really hard time coping and becoming so emotionally distraught. I was having a hard time moving forward with my life in certain circumstances. And don't get me wrong, it's totally okay to have a moment of sadness, like sit in your sadness for a second. You're allowed to have feelings, but when it holds you back, that's inhibiting you from so much growth. And I was realizing that sitting in my sadness and letting myself be overcome by the emotions, I wasn't moving forward with my life like I should. One night I was sitting with a friend and I was having issues with my job. I was not making enough money and needed to figure out like rent money and just like my living situation. And anyway, I was telling my friend, and after I had told her all of what was going on in my life, she mentioned that it sounded like my pools were blending. And I was like, what do you mean by like my pools are blending? And basically, long story short, she meant that I was having a lot of problems that I was making sound like one big problem, and that in order to move forward and in order to get going on things, I needed to separate what was going on in my life and basically conquer and divide. And so I was at the time working at a surrogacy agency, and I had just hosted a support group that talked about the 8 pillars of health. And so I decided to divvy up my life into the 8 pillars of health. I ran into my bedroom after this talk, I got my journal out, and I went through the 8 pillars of health and broke down my life, broke it out into sections. And although this wasn't like the end all be all, like a savior for my feelings, it did help me manage my emotions. And I went from a level like 100 emotion to a level 20 emotion, where then I could therefore handle everything and move forward. You're not going to get anything done in this life if you let your emotions run you. Emotions and feelings are super important. They have so much value in this world, but we need to learn how to direct them in order to conquer the world. And so that's what I tried to do. Now I'm going to talk about the pillars of health. There are 8 of them, and this is how I broke my life into different sections just so I could get inventory on how things were going in each compartment of life. And basically, you could put positive or negative things in each category. You're just trying to get an inventory of what's going on in your brain. The first one is emotional. So are you happy? Are you sad? Are you getting annoyed with your kids? Are you crying when you're listening to music? Was there a movie that made you happy? Anything that could go in emotional health. It doesn't have to be sappy. You could write down, I'm furious, or I'm annoyed, or you could write, I'm delighted to wake up in the morning. Whatever emotions you're feeling at the point is what you should put in that section. And so the next one is physical. So take inventory of your physical health. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you exercising? Did you see the sun, or are you sitting in bed all day? That's what physical health would be. Occupational. For this one, just anything with work. Are your coworkers annoying you? Are you unemployed? Do you have to file for unemployment? What's going on in your occupational world? Social. Are you staying in contact with friends? Are you giving your mom a call? Are you calling your sister? What are you doing to keep your social battery full? Are you somebody who is around people too much and you want to be around people less? So however you're feeling socially. The next one is spiritual. So for spiritual health, you do not have to subscribe to a religion to fill out this spirituality category. When I created this system, I would have called myself an atheist, and for this one, I would just put in, am I practicing gratitude? Do I write down affirmations? Am I meditating? If you are religious, am I going to church? Am I praying? Another one, you could do yoga for spirituality. However you get in touch with you and your soul. So totally up for interpretation. The next one is intellectual. So what am I doing to learn new things? I think it's super important to always be challenging ourselves, and whether that's from like reading a book or watching videos on YouTube to help you learn something, that could be important. So that's what I would put in intellectual health. The next one is environmental. So who am I living with? Are we living together well? Is my sink full of dirty dishes? Is my bathroom super clean? Am I paying rent on time? Am I living with my parents? Are these people annoying me? So anything with environmental, or like, did I get a new couch? Anything. And for financial, that's the last one. How am I doing financially? Am I not having an income right now? Do I have to take off work because I'm sick? And did I just get money from my parents? Anything that has to do with your financial circumstances. And so basically, when I was going through a really hard time, when I was just discussing the example when I was having a hard time and switching jobs and talking to my friend, during that time, emotionally, I was so chaotic. I was crying probably every day after work, and I was crying during every song. I didn't find a lot of joy in the things that I was doing outside of work. So emotionally, I was totally not okay. Physically, I was not getting enough sleep, and I was definitely smoking too much weed. And so physically, I wasn't doing well. Occupational, I had a job that was consistent, but I had issues with our values not aligning. So my occupational was not doing well. Social, I had my best friend. I was talking to my family, so social was doing great. Sorry about my cat. Spirituality, I was not writing in my journal every day or practicing gratitude. So that pillar wasn't up. Intellectual, this was a time when I felt like I was learning constantly. I was learning about the surrogacy agency, so I felt like that bucket was full. Environmental, I loved living with my roommate. That was very fun, and we always kept a really clean place, so that was fine. And then financially, although I was getting paid, I was still having a hard time making ends meet in other areas, so I had to ask my parents for a lot of help. So financially, I just didn't feel like I was doing well at all. So basically, I had like 5 out of my 8 pillars were negative, and they had negative aspects to them. And what I realized during this is that I could give myself grace and not be so hard on myself, because 5 out of my 8 pillars weren't standing up, so of course I wasn't doing well. And basically, the route that I took, what could I do to start going forward? And I'm the type of person where I'll just do like the easiest thing first. So I'll always start with taking like a good nap and then conquering the rest. But basically, once everything is broken up, again, it's not going to fix your problems, but it's definitely going to get you jump started on where you need to make your life a priority. And yeah, you're so much of a priority, so it's definitely good to know where you need help. Because yeah, like I said before, this life is, or maybe not have said it, this life is hard to manage sometimes. So sometimes we need a little bit extra help in different areas to learn how to cope. That is my video. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, this isn't going to be the cure to all of your problems, but I just hope that it can be a system to help break everything down and make life seem a little bit more manageable and less scary. Again, thank you so much if you stuck around, and I'll see you in the next video.